Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. And in this video, there are a few things I want to take a look at. Of course, the week, the energy for the coming week. And there's also something of course, I've already done this in my Dutch video. I shuffled the cards in my Dutch video. So if you want to see that, you'll have to watch my Dutch video, but I've got the cards laid out. But I also looked at something that's happening now in the Netherlands, and I think that's also relevant to what's happening around the world. But first of all, I wanted to mention something that is just brilliant here. There's an article this morning in Why Would You Email If You Can Fax? The German army is pretty much how can I put this nicely? Let's just say not the smartest in a wartime. So apparently in Germany they still use the fax. I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is, but it's from the 80s, from last century. They use this. I've used it, but I'm very long time ago. I've worked in administration, so then of course you had the fax. You put in a paper and then you would, where you're going to send it to, and then the paper would go through it, and then a copy would hopefully be received by the person that you send it to. But this is a very old way of communicating, and apparently in Germany it's still being used, but also by the army. So in the article it's also mentioned that this entire thing that's happening in Ukraine shows how all the shortcomings in the German army. So there's not enough personnel, there's not enough ammunition, and what they're using is incredibly outdated, like faxes. I didn't even know that they were using that at that level. It's just amazing to me. So that was interesting to see, actually. Germany, they still fax a lot of things. And apparently in the entire country, it's still being used by doctors and things like that. It's just... All right. Well... Then there was another thing I thought was very interesting. Mr. O, I'll call him Barry, or we can call him Barack, but I'll just call him Barry, actually showed up in Belgium this Sunday. He actually paid a visit to King Philip of Belgium, but he also was there to talk at these tech days that they have in Belgium at the moment. And this has to do with the FTI Supernova is the event for tech entrepreneurs, investors, and innovation lovers who seek funding or want to be inspired, informed, and grow their network all in, well, this is like 2 days, but I think the total is like 10 days. And he was talking at this event, and it's very, very interesting to see. Yeah, this is 10 days tech. This is from 15 till the 24th of March in Vlaanderen and Flanders, if I'm not mistaken in English, but we call it Vlaanderen. And this is really about, one of the subjects is the body of the future. So how would our body looks like? How would our body look like in 2050? Technology and innovations are like the architect of all our secret dreams and how we can expand the horizon of the human imagination. And that's a quick translation. This was all in Dutch. This is transhumanism. This has to do with what they ultimately want to do, what the dark energies really want to do to humanity, and that is create Borg. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with the Borg. They are from Star Trek, Next Generation, and they are like this hive mind. They're all connected, so they don't have mind and thoughts of their own, and they're like half biological, half technology, and that's really what they want. They want to make sure a lot of humanity will disappear, and the small group that will be left over, they want to fuse with all kinds of technology so they will have full control. I've mentioned already before that that's not the smartest things to do, because they need our energy, and by fusing us with technology they are actually blocking us from the source, from God, from your soul. So the energy won't flow anymore, so they'll be running out of energy that way. They'll have to find other well, beings to supply their energy, because really their entire mind is focused on death and destruction. Of course, in their minds, they think that they are at the same level as God, so they're going to be just fine, and they just need to push this through. But I do believe that that timeline has ended. I don't think this is going to happen at all, especially with everything falling apart right now, all the narratives. But again, that is, of course, the perspective, your perspective. There are people that actually do believe that they are going to get what they want. I don't see it happening. But this is very interesting. So Barry actually showed up there to talk there. And he also showed up in Great Britain, visited Rishi, the Prime Minister of Great Britain. We also know there's something going on in Great Britain concerning most likely the royals. Apparently there have been flags on halfway, and we don't know yet. There were some things coming out that maybe Charlie left the Earth plane, maybe it's Kate. We just don't know. So I'm kind of waiting for that, see what's going to happen there. It's going to be very interesting. I believe that the royal families has already been, changed, and a lot of things have already happened. I believe worldwide a lot of political, leaders have already been changed. But I'm working with what is known to the public. So people still see Charlie, people see still Mr. P in Russia, and they see Mr. B in America. So to them, they're still there. So we'll have to, that's why I'm working with that, because that will have an effect, of course, on the energy. But it's interesting, we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen. But also that he showed up there. What was Barry doing there? But anyway, interesting to see. I think a lot of things are happening right now. And the thing I looked at in my Dutch video has to do with here in the Netherlands, that I believe is also, not only just happening in the Netherlands, but worldwide. There are a lot of things happening now with the stings, but here in the Netherlands, unfortunately 4 babies died from like a disease that in a way could have been prevented if they were stinged before. It's very, I'm not sure if that, I believe there is a sting for that. I'm not sure about that. It's called kinkhoest. And there's also been an outbreak of the measles here. I think that's the measles. Yes, I believe that's the correct term for that. So now I saw this morning, there is a party here. Of course, the VVD, as usual. They want to have a mandatory sting, so for children to go to daycare. If it's too low, the level of children being stinged apparently in a daycare, then there needs to be a mandatory that children that want to be brought in there need to have their stings. And it's really not surprising that they're going to use that. To be very honest, it's very possible with the babies that died that their mothers actually got their stings from the past 4 years when they were pregnant, or maybe later on. And of course that has an effect on their maybe giving mother milk, the spike, the spike protein could be transferred that way. And like I said, they could have already been, stinged when they were pregnant to begin with. That will have an effect on the child. And so I do believe that a lot of it is all connected. And the past 4 years, a lot of children, weren't allowed to meet other children. We had that period where everyone was kind of stuck in their houses, here in the Netherlands as well. Worldwide, a lot of that has happened, of course. And that has an effect on the immune system, because the immune system needs, to meet other, to get your immune system strong, you need to be exposed to certain things. So that didn't happen for quite some time, and that has an effect as well. So I think this is all connected to that. And they're using this, of course, to push these things through. So the cards I've got, the first one is the 9 of Swords. The central card is the 4 of Swords. The card in the past is the 2 of Wands. Underneath the 4 of Swords, we have the King of Pentacles. And for the future, we've got the 8 of Swords and the High Priest. And I just actually got clarified just where is this going to, and that I got the Fool. So ultimately, this is going to be all left behind because there's a lot of fear they're creating right now. This is about creating fear. This has to do with dis-ease. Purposely, of course, aiming at children, the horrible things they've done to children, but they want those children, especially when you get them at a young age with all these things, the easier it will be to place all that technology later on. Well, at least the ones that survive. So it's all focused on that. This has to do with health, and they're creating this feeling of powerlessness, of course, with parents frightening. This can happen to your child. You need to get things. You need to be prepared. Of course, hopefully, trying to create this group of parents fighting other parents that don't want their children to be stinged. So that's what they've done, of course, the past 4 years. Also here in the Netherlands, we had this group against each other that, the ones that complied, and of course the ones that were not complying at all. They're a very awful situation here as well and around the world. It's just horrible what happened. Families falling apart. And this is really, they want to create that feeling of powerlessness and feeling powerless. So take our solution. This has to do with the dark energies, showing their agenda, showing what's happening. Luckily, there is more criticism now because of the things that happened the past 4 years. People do see that there is something wrong with that as well. Unfortunately, not yet everyone, but I do believe more and more things are going to come out. And then, of course, people are going to look at these things for the children as well, obviously, because what's in them and what kind of effect will that have. Also interesting is an article I shared, I think, a couple of days ago, that there was an investigation or research that apparently the children from the Amish are the healthiest, probably around the world most likely, but at least healthiest, compared to the Western world, because obviously they don't have any stings. Interesting to see. And of course the last card was more of a clarifier, where is this going, and ultimately completely new beginning. The Fool is like a new start. So this will all end, but this is all designed to create fear, to push parents in a certain direction, to get their hands on the children. This is also to be shown so people can see how persistent this is and how much this is also pushed from the governments. Here in the Netherlands, they're pushing this. In other countries, I believe there are mandatory stings if you want to go to daycare. I'm not sure what country yet, and maybe in America there's some states. I'm not sure about that, but this is important for people to see. It needs to be known, it needs to be shown, and ultimately it's going to fall apart. So, and a new beginning will happen. And I also looked at the coming week. So this is the energy for the coming week. We have the Three of Swords, we've got the Empress, and we've got the High Priest again. And so a lot of old things that may have happened in the past are now happening and now shown to the public concerning the dark energies. I think there really is going to be a spotlight on them. The new energy that is coming in will, push out all these old dark blockades, challenges. It's being shown. I also shared this morning a clip from Benny Johnson, who's speaking to General Flynn about what happened in the past with JFK, with his brother, Martin Luther King, and that needs to come out. All those things that happened to them needs to be brought out in the open. What really happened? So all these old things are, shown more. People starting to connect the dots, but it needs to be brought out. And of course, with this new, the sacred feminine energy coming in, the energy is being, raised. That will lead to cleansing, clearing. But before you can clean something, you need to understand what has been going on. You need to see it, of course, to acknowledge it, and then you can move on. So this week will be a week of acknowledging things. That's the feeling I'm getting. And of course, we'll have to see in Great Britain what is going on with the royals, with Charlie and with Kate. Maybe something will come out about that as well. So we'll have to wait and see. And of course, I might look at it tonight. I'm doing another live. Hopefully this will happen. Last week it was a disaster. I was thrown out of the live continuously. So hopefully it will it will be a better life than last week. And then I most likely am going to take a look just at the energy of Great Britain as well. But I'm kind of hoping that it will be announced maybe today, because I can work with the announcement, because that is what is known to the public and that is what is being shown. So kind of waiting for that. Maybe I'll look at it tonight. Just the energy of Great Britain. And of course I will do a recap, and then I'll mention that as well, what the cards would say or are going to say about that energy. But it's interesting, and also of course that Barry showed up there. Things are happening. And this is the advice. We've got the 3 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, and the High Priestess. This is very important, that the advice for this week is to kind of lean back, not get involved in all these things happening. Maybe there are things happening inside of yourself, maybe some inner strife, maybe outside, but don't get caught up in it. Use your intuition and just lean back. I think that's very important for just generally to just see what's going to happen and not, get dragged into it. That's what they want. They want our energy. They want us at a lower frequency. They want to control us, and they'll do that by creating all kinds of things to get you dragged in, just like what happened here in the Netherlands with stings for the children. They want to drag people in a lower frequency, scare them, frighten them. And of course, very important to really connect with your intuition, to just take a step back, lean back, see what's happening, see what's unfolding. I think that is very important that we do that this week. So that's the advice for this week. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.